think we're good. I think we're good. Yep, light's still flashing. The drone lives to see another day. Alrighty, so today we're doing a little bit of a reverse level on the Silverado. Right now it has the ReadyLift 4-inch SST kit, which is a 4-inch lift in the front. So it's a spacer lift with new upper control arms, 4-inch lift up here, and then a 3-inch block in the rear. So it does still have a bit of a rake because the difference between ride height front to rear on the Silverado is 2 inches. So if you have a stock Silverado doing a 2-inch leveling kit in the front, nothing in the rear will sit it perfectly level. If you have a Trail Boss, which is a 2-inch lift on all 4 corners, removing the rear blocks altogether will sit this thing nice and level. So this has 4 in the front, 3 in the rear. It does have about a 1-inch rake then. So I bought the 2-inch block for the rear and a 6mm wheel spacer. So that should look pretty cool too, poking the rear wheels out just a bit because those sit pretty much flush with the bedside and the front tires stick out ever so slightly from the fenders. So 1/4 inch isn't much, but it'll definitely show. And 1 inch doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in terms of lift, it's definitely noticeable. So that'll look really good. Motofab 2-inch block, and then the Southern Truck 6mm wheel spacers right here. So that's all we need. I think this thing will look right after we install the blocks and the spacers. It's starting to rain a bit now, so let's get on down to the garage and get right to it. Probably first thing I should do though is wash out all this dirt and do myself a favor when removing the wheels and all the stuff required to get to the rear block. Let's do it.
On track, now we going way up. Don't be used as easy as a layup. Fucking let's stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Count blessings and you know we pray up, way up, way up. On track, now we going way up, way up. Now we going way up. Now we going on track, now we going way up.
So when I first bought this truck, I couldn't be too selective about the options my truck came with, given the times and the shortages. So I wasn't able to get a lot of the options I wanted, but I also got a bunch of options that I didn't really care for because there wasn't a lot to choose from in inventory. So I got things like a sunroof, which I've never really opened once, and a heated steering wheel, which at first I was like, I mean, I'll take the truck, or I'll take that option with the truck because, I mean, why not, I guess, but I'll probably never use it. But dude, don't sleep on that right there. It's amazing. I use it all the time, and especially in areas, you know, that are like a lot colder than this, where today is a high of 55. So kind of cold for SoCal, but in other areas where it gets a lot colder, dude, this definitely is clutch. So here's the wheel spacers. Just 2 for the rear. Came with instructions. So I'm doing this the slow and painful way. I don't have a deep socket. I don't know, it's probably 22 or something like that. So I'm using vice grips, but if you're doing this at home, definitely get you some deep sockets to make your life a lot easier, because this is going to take a lot longer. 1 down, 3 to go. So I'm doing this with the wheels on the truck, not removing the wheels for the block install. Obviously I'll remove the wheels for the spacer part. Not the way, man, I'm telling you. This is not the way. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Painful to know that if I just had the right tools, this portion right here would take about 30 seconds. All right, so 4 bolts are out, U-bolts are off. Now I'm gonna take my jack and then jack up. This side of the leaf spring closer to the front of the truck is flatter. So I'll take take my jack and then jack this off the blocks and then just raise it high enough to get this block out, and then I'll have plenty of room to get the new block in there because it's smaller. Okay, there's the difference right there. Slide this guy in. a little groove right there. It falls right into. Perfect. And now we'll just lower it down. A little spot it falls into. Just gonna make sure it lines up. There's a little slot on top of the block the leaf spring lines up into, but gotta shake it back and forth a little bit. Should kind of just fall into place. It's not lining up right, is it? Go up a little bit. So I was twisting the block left and right, and then so I have it elevated up to a point where I just have, you know, like a 1/4 of an inch of space on top of the block, and I was able to twist it to where both pins are in. So I'm gonna drop it down a little bit more, and hopefully the bottom pin rests into place. Oh, sounds good to me. Sounds like the pop we wanted. Yes, sir, it's in. Oh my gosh. All right, so after about 30 minutes of using a vice grip to tighten down the U-bolts, this side's good to go. 2-inch block is in. Time for the passenger side. Ooh-wee. It's really coming down now. I mean, for California, we don't see rain too often, so a little bit goes a long way over here. Pull the old block out. Whew, boy's heavy. Put the new one in. So welcome back to another day. Today's mission is to install the wheel spacers, the 6mm wheel spacers on the back wheels only, because the front wheels poke out ever so slightly past the fenders, and the back wheels lay pretty flush. 1/4 inch spacer, not a whole lot, but just enough to make it look right. But I'm loving the level look, dude. It looks so much better than that rake. I'm not a fan of that rake look whatsoever. So nice and level of a look now. I love that. All the lines look good. We'll pull it out in a minute and show you guys the completed project after the wheel spacers and the blocks. I also want to smoke out the front turn signals as well to kind of add to that fully blacked out look on the front end, match the taillights a little bit, and just add to the overall green and black theme, dude. This thing's looking so sick, all green and black. So that right there is today's mission. Wheel spacers, the blocks are in, everything went just fine. Only like hold up was the driver's side, because trying to finesse the driver's side block in while the other side still had its block, the 3-inch block, kind of made the angle of the axle kind of weird, so it was kind of hard to get that pin to land into the block on the driver's side after the new block was installed. But aside from that, everything went really smooth. Anyways, I'm done talking. Let's get the wheels off, throw the spacers on, tint the front turn signals. With the wheel spacer installed, I can't use the hub ring. The hub ring helps center the wheel onto the hub without any guesswork. That's the only difference between using it and not. So now I have to make sure that everything is evenly tightened down so it don't be wobble, and then torque it down to 140 foot-pounds. Just like that. Using a crisscross motion, and we should be good to go. Definitely a noticeable difference for sure. So there it is on the right side, spacer installed. Compared to this side, oh yeah, did you see it? You see it for sure. So perfectly flush on this side, and then a little pokey poke on this side. here is the mid tint. So there's a light, there's a mid, and there's a dark by Lux. You find this stuff on metrorestyling.com. Super easy to work with. Right here is what I have with my taillights too. And it looks really nice, good gloss to it. And the mid is perfect because the dark one's way too dark and sometimes the light one is just a little too light. This right here is that happy medium, so yeah. Let's get to it. Dude, this rain won't back down for anything right now. It's been non-stop for the last week. Every Californian will say, we really needed that. Let's dry the surrounding areas too, just to make sure we don't have any contact with any water. Bro, that looks so sick. Wow, what have I been doing, bro? I've been sleeping on this one. Now let's do a little light test to make sure it comes through. Oh, dude, perfectly. Alrighty, so let's check out the new setup, dude. Oh my gosh, that looks so much better. Oh, I love it. I love it, dude. That looks right, dude. Lowering the back end, now it's super level. It's perfectly level. So now we have a 2-inch block in the rear, a 4-inch lift in the front, and it's, dude, you can see all the lines, right? Like now the lines look better too because everything runs like parallel to the ground. Oh my gosh, dude. And the spacers too. Oh my gosh, dude. I love this. It looks so much better. It's such a subtle difference, but it makes the overall appearance change up so much. And of course we did the front turn signals too. Block those things out, and the light does come through just fine still too. So here, check it out. Yeah, it still shines through perfectly fine. It doesn't blind you anymore, that's for sure. The last fit bulbs are like dumb bright, dude. So plenty of room for the tint and the light to shine through. So looking good. If you guys want a perfectly leveled Silverado, I'm sure Sierras are the exact same thing. 2019s and up do a 2-inch difference from front to rear. So 2 inches lower in the rear than your lift in the front, or if you want just a leveled look, no lift, and you don't have the Trail Boss, just do a 2-inch block in the front and nothing in the rear. If you have a Trail Boss, you can either remove the rear block and leave the front, therefore you have that factory leveling kit essentially, or do a 4-inch lift in the front and 2 in the rear just like I did, and you'll have a 6-inch lift in the front essentially on the Trail Boss factory 2-inch lift. But yeah, dude, that's it. So 2-inch lower lift in the rear than the front, and you'll be sitting perfectly leveled. Also, somebody mentioned that the blue light that flashes here on the Xipu wireless charging mat from Amazon, they mentioned that one of the reviews on Amazon said that the light is like blinding when you're driving, and you know, after driving with it for a little while now, it's definitely it's pretty noticeably bright. I have heavy window tint, I have limo tint on the sides, 50% of my windshield, so it's a little annoying sometimes at nighttime when it's so like dark in here and I'm trying to look out my windows and this thing's like in my face. As you guys can see, it's like glowing me up, but it's all good. It ain't that bad, but it's cool though. It looks cool, but definitely pretty bright. So I had to remove my hub-centric rings to get the spacer on there, so making sure the wheels don't vibrate on this test drive right now. One common misconception with hub-centric rings is that they carry load. They're not used to like take the weight off your lugs. They're only used to align the wheel onto the truck perfectly, centered off like out the gate, so you don't have to like finesse it. But I mean, it's not rocket science regardless of having a hub-centric ring or not. You just use your star pattern, then make sure you torque it down to spec, and that's really all there is to it. So the instrument cluster here is saying service tire monitor system. Coincidentally, after I removed the wheels and put them back on, and installed a wheel spacer. I don't know if that's anything to do with it. I don't think so. It doesn't. It for sure doesn't. There's no chance. That right there is pretty much a wrap. That's all I have for you guys today as always. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Till then, peace out.